I mostly work with Kiara.
Okay.
Apart from Kiara, I worked a lot with Madhuri ma'am.
Okay.
I worked a lot with Tabu ma'am and Alia.
Only one term that we hear from makeup artists is आपको पता नहीं चलेगा मैंने makeup किया.
हाँ. Every artist is different. Every hand is different.
As a makeup artist, maybe not now, you don't need it, but back in the day, networking is essential.
I unlearned whatever I learned from Singapore and I went back to whatever I learned from Cory.
And I believe that you have a fan following of your own.
Yes, I do.
What happened after Cory Wallia's class?
So I have reached her house to do her makeup without my makeup kit.
So I think before we do any sort of background check and how did this all started, I think from a layman's perspective, अगर आप हमको खाली बता सकते हैं, what exactly is makeup? If you can just deconstruct it down, because I think nowadays with social media we have too many things, too many people talking about the same thing. But I think you will be able to give us a clear picture of makeup actually होता क्या है.
Okay. So, I have a few different perspectives to it. If you ask me, what is makeup to me, I feel makeup is something which you should be comfortable in.
Okay.
Something which works for your face. So, what happens now is that with too much of access to content, we consume so much of content that sometimes we get confused कि मेरे लिए क्या सही है, वो दिख रहा है. And number one, the number of products that are available. Earlier, we didn't have so many makeup products, but right now, there's so much of choice that choice leads to confusion.
Right.
So, according to me, if you ask me for a layman, makeup is something which you are comfortable with, which makes you feel you, which makes you feel confident, something which you can carry it off.
Right.
And it is not one size fit all. It has to be tailor made. Something which works for you may not work for me, and something which works for me may not work for you. And that is what I keep telling all my people who I interact with, my students, my assistants, that don't go by the bookish knowledge of makeup. Makeup is something which works for you, which is very different from what works for me.
Right.
So in short, makeup is something which you need to be comfortable in, which makes you feel confident.
And this we're talking about off camera. You're talking about like in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you reckon that people should generally just do makeup when they get out?
Well, again, it's a personal choice.
Right.
I know of people who are not makeup enthusiasts or makeup fan, and they are absolutely okay to walk out of the house without wearing a speck of makeup, which is fine because they are okay with it. And on the contrary, I know of people who want to do makeup. So again, it's a personal choice. It's not like you should do makeup or you shouldn't do makeup, but women being women, some part of us always craves for some kind of makeup. And even if we don't, I know of so many people who don't do makeup or don't wear makeup, but they are hoarders. The amount of makeup they'll have at home, I'm like, you don't even wear makeup. What do you have so many products for?
Yeah.
It's just to feel good. You just go, you see so many products you want to buy, and especially lipsticks. I don't think I've come across a single woman till now who does not wear lipstick. Yeah. So I think in a way makeup has become a part of our lives. For some a lot, and for some it's just a casual thing.
So in general, so when a woman is, say, she's going out or she's going shopping or whatever, what exactly does makeup do to her? So does it like hide some stuff, or does it just make her feel good?
See, I just feel you wear makeup to feel good.
Right.
To feel good, to look good, and you already know what works for you.
Right.
Intrinsically, okay, this is something which works for me. So I end up doing that. Like I'll give you an example of my own self. I don't wear any base. I don't wear any concealer, although I'm a makeup artist. I don't wear any base. I don't wear any concealer because I've never done it, and I don't feel the need to do it. But what I love is kajal. I can't step out of the house without kajal, not because it makes me feel underconfident or anything. I just love it. I just love wearing kajal and enhancing my eyes. So, yes, it is for some, it is a feel-good factor. And then there are some cases where there is a genuine need.
Right.
Like if somebody has a lot of, for example, dark circles or some blemishes, and that person is not comfortable moving out of the house or revealing herself in that way. Again, it's a very personal choice. If you're not comfortable, then that's what makeup does. It helps you in concealing certain parts of your face, which you are not comfortable about, and it just makes you more confident.
these earlier terms that you use, they're completely like Greek to me. So if you can just, probably picking up from there, if you can just give us the basics of like home makeup. So used concealer or whatever foundation.
Okay, so as I said, it's confusing. There are a lot of things that you can do.
Basics.
But the basics are, most people would go for a concealer, which is to hide and cover any blemishes or dark circles, which most of us have.
Right.
Then Indian women wear a lot of kajal.
Right.
So kajal is a no-brainer. Like mostly every household has kajal and lipstick in their drawers, and every woman would have it.
Yeah.
Then a basic could be a mascara. That's one, and blush.
Right.
Blush is just to enhance your cheeks.
Right. When you look around sometimes, and you being into makeup, do you sometimes like have this thing ki, why are people not wearing makeup? Like,
so I am judgmental all the time. I look at a woman and I'm like, okay, this is right, this is not right. She could have done the blush in this way. She should have not done the blush in this way.
You have that, huh?
I am. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, I am very judgmental. Like, I literally, it's awkward because sometimes I stare at women and I'm like, okay, and I just stare, and it's awkward. Sometimes I don't realize that I'm staring, and I get looks ki, why are you staring at me, kind of a thing. Then I realize that, okay, fine. But yes, I am judgmental. I look at people and I feel that, okay, she's got a pretty face. Or not only from a makeup perspective. Sometimes being a makeup artist, I study facial features also, and I see somebody and I feel that, wow, she's got stunning cheekbones, or she's got a stunning face, and I would love to do her makeup. So all that just subconsciously plays at the back of your mind.
But ऐसा कभी reflexively हुआ है कि you've just gone, like maybe it's a friend or an artist and told
100%.
Yeah.
You can ask any of my friends.
You've told the person.
I've gone and said, what have you done? I mean, please just remove this blush. And whoever is watching this knows, I'm not going to name it, will know that I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
Because I have done it all the time.
Yeah.
Because it just hurts my eye to see. I'd rather you not do it than do it wrong.
Nice.
So, I've been blatant enough and gone and said that just wash your face, or just not the right way to do it.
Nice. Now I think we can go back a little, and if you can just tell us about, how did this whole thing begin for you?
As in the makeup journey?
The makeup journey, yeah.
So I was not a makeup artist. I was into a totally different...
No, I'm saying we can start probably, maybe in college, when you were just aspiring to get into work, and what were your thoughts back then?
So I always loved makeup because I just love colors. So, in college my mother never wore kajal. So I've not even grown up seeing anybody wearing kajal. For my mother, the whole concept of makeup was bindi and lipstick. So from there, I don't know how, maybe Bollywood influence, I started watching films, and I started loving...
You were in Bombay?
I'm from Calcutta.
Okay.
So in Calcutta, obviously you don't have access to certain stuff that you have access to in Bombay. So maybe that was an intriguing part. Maybe that was something which subconsciously played. But I always wore kajal. And then when I started working, I never aspired to be a makeup artist. Because at that point in time, makeup as a profession was, I don't think, even considered as a profession. Like right now, you have a choice when you tell your parents, okay, I want to be a makeup artist, there are formal trainings, there are formal academies. There's a lot going on. So you can take it up as a profession. But back then, if I would have gone and told my dad, forget about back then, when I decided to quit my job and I actually went and told my dad that I want to become a makeup artist, he was shocked, he was aghast. He didn't speak to me for a while because he said, you're leaving a white collar job and you want to, he didn't have the concept of makeup. So he said, you want to go to people's homes and do pedicure. I'm like, makeup is not pedicure. So that so their concept of makeup is beautician, jo parlor mein hote hai.
Exactly.
So it was not structured back then. So I never thought of it. But yes, but I used to do a lot of makeup. And I remember back in Calcutta when I started working, MAC had just launched. And MAC had the first mover advantage, and we were like, all of us were like crazy, MAC cosmetics and all. So I would just go splurge all my salary buying makeup, buying colorful eyeshadows and pencils, and I would wear that to office. So I have always loved wearing makeup. But again, not the base and all. I was very averse to it because I didn't know how to use it. And most people, to be honest, say or feel that they don't like to wear bases because they don't know how to use it in the right way. So I used to buy kajal and colored pencils and I used to wear it. But then when I came to Bombay and I, got exposed, then that's when I said that, okay, fine, this is something which I can think of, trying out as my career option. And it worked out well for me.
But was there any one particular point or any inspiration or, maybe you saw a particular artist or you saw a particular makeup or something where you felt that, okay, this is what I want to be, or it was
Not really.
a gradual?
No, it was a gradual thing.
Okay.
To be honest with you, very honest, even when I did the course, I did my first makeup course from Cory Wallia, who's a very renowned makeup artist. Yeah. So I did it from him from Bombay, and I remember I wanted to do this course with him, and he didn't have a slot. So every time I used to call him, he would say, "Call me in 2 months."
Okay.
And I would call him in 2 months. Again, after 2 months, I would call him. He said, "Call me after 1 month." And I would again call him. So now we are very good friends. And now he keeps telling me that you were so irritating and you were so persistent that I said, okay, fine, now just let this girl come and join. Because he would just, de do usko. Because she's going on calling me and I'm saying, jaga nahi hai. And I was very polite. I said, sir, do you have space? Can I join your next batch? And he would always turn me down saying no. Then I was so irritating, he tells me that. So, and that's when my first exposure to professional makeup, I got exposed to it for the first time. And I started loving it. But to be very honest with you, even at that point in time, I wasn't really sure if I would take this up as my profession going forward and I can do this for the rest of my life. All I knew is that this is something which I'm loving.
So you just did it for like a passion at that point?
I did it for passion. I somewhere wanted to explore this line, but I was not sure if this is something which I want. But I was just doing it because I was just loving what I was being taught. The stuff that I was seeing, the makeup, and when you throw, it's like a child in a candy store. You throw that person, and I mean, so much of makeup, and honestly speaking, the glam factor also, it just throws you off guard sometimes. And I was just loving what I was receiving. I was loving what I was seeing other people do, and I think it just graduated into something which is
so
my life
what happened
now.
after Cory Wallia's class?
So I did Cory's class, and I still could not quit my job because I was scared. And my husband and I, none of us are from Bombay. So living in Bombay, and then not being from Bombay but living in Bombay, it's difficult to suddenly quit a job. And I've been with this financial institution for 8.5 years. So to suddenly drop that. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll start doing it as a weekend project. So I started working from Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, I would try and take up makeup as a weekend project. Like I would literally reach out to all my friends and family and say, hey, I've done this course. Let me come and do your makeup. You're going for a party? I used to call people and say, today's Friday night. Are you going somewhere? I want to come and do your makeup, because I really wanted to practice. And today, on the hindsight, I realized that is something which really paid off. Because makeup is something, a lot of people, even today, they dismiss makeup as, "Arey, chal theek hai, makeup hai."
Yes.
But to be very honest with you, makeup is a very good amalgamation of science and art. You need to know certain techniques, which is the science part of it. But the end result will translate into what you see is only because if you are a creative person. So it's an amalgamation of art with science. So I would actually reach out to people, my friends, family, koi bhi mil jaye, कि मुझे मेकअप करने दो, because I just thought it's a different face. Every new face is something which you take. I mean, you learn something from it. You take away something from it, and I was doing that, but it didn't work. It doesn't work like that, I mean, you
doesn't work as in financially.
No, I'm saying this arrangement of Monday to Friday office and Saturday Sunday makeup didn't work for me, because it's just. No, you know what I'm saying?
After a point, you get bored, right? I mean,
not only bored, everybody may not want to get ready on Saturday, Sunday. What do I do? I'm sitting. I mean, I can't keep practicing on myself. So I was just getting...
but with those guys, were they happy with what you were doing?
Yeah, they were happy. Okay. They were happy.
And you were happy with what you were doing?
I was... Right now, if I see those pictures, I'm like, what the hell have I done?
Exactly.
But that time I was very happy, because I was getting to whatever I had learned. I was practicing, and I called all my friends and I said, I want to do a bridal photo shoot with you all.
Wow.
So I called a photographer and I did this, fancy photo shoot and all of that. Because it was a part of the learning process. It was exciting, but then it was not sustainable. And then I think in 2011, I had to take the plunge. I decided if it's either now or never. So that's when I quit my job, and I applied for a course. and I did my full makeup course from Singapore, Makeup Forever.
Nice.
For almost 2.5, 3 months I was in Singapore. I did a full course.
Wow.
And then when I came back...
What is the name of this institute?
Makeup Forever.
In Singapore.
Yeah, so Makeup Forever is a very famous beauty brand, makeup brand, and they also have an academy. So
Nice.
there are different academies across the globe. So I did it from Singapore. And yes, so in fact I feel it's good because later on I realized, and all this I'm talking, on the hindsight, because
Absolutely.
that time you don't really know.
You're just going with the flow.
I didn't know what I was doing, whether it'll pay off, whether it'll work, but I just felt right that I should do it.
Yeah.
Today I realized it was important because when I did a course from Singapore and I did a course with Cory, it actually helped me balance, because when you learn abroad, it's very different from when you learn in India, where you're working rather, because when I'm learning abroad, the models that I get, the faces that I get are very different in terms of skin tone and facial structure from the regular people I will be actually working with.
Right.
So that when I did the course with Cory helped me understand Indian skin tone and some of the techniques which I learned from Singapore that just helped me blend both, together.
So, but would you say that schools, when you go for skilling, they do give you a level of confidence when you come back?
50-50.
Okay.
They definitely teach you certain techniques and certain aspects which you should know as a makeup artist professional.
Yeah.
See, if you're doing it for your personal, just for fun, you just love doing makeup and you're doing it for your personal stuff, then it's okay. A lot of things can be forgiven. But when you're working as a professional, because when you're working as a professional, you're working on somebody else's face. So the responsibility becomes a lot more than when you're working on your own face.
Your own face.
So you need to be sensitive towards a lot of things, which the school teaches you.
Right.
But again, end of the day, the confidence only comes with practice. The more you practice, the more confident you'll get.
And you spoke about science.
Yeah.
So was this a part of the schooling? Or
Yeah. They used to so when I went there, they would tell us why we are doing this. This is the technique. Why we are not doing a certain thing. What is it that you're putting on your face? They would tell us, why it is important to use a certain product before a certain product and not after a certain product. So these are certain technicalities as a professional, as I again said, as a professional, when you're working on somebody else's face, you need to be sensitive and you need to be aware of it.
Yeah. No, I think it's nice because, when I was an AD, which I was telling you some time back, back in the day, an artist would not really have a preference. A makeup person or a costume would be based on आपके पास budget कितना है, आप उसको ले लो.
Correct.
And usually an artist would be okay with that. I'm talking like 2 decades ago. Today,
भूल जाओ.
Exactly. There's a term entourage.
Yeah.
I have actually seen, which is what I was telling you before, an artist is ready to let go of a film if her or his entourage is not a part of, the deal.
See, I'll tell you
so
why.
We've evolved.
I'll tell you why. There is a reason also, because, and this is where makeup is a very subtle thing. So according to me, not because I'm an artist, in generally I feel hair, makeup and wardrobe, more than wardrobe, I think hair, makeup is undermined. Because they are not given the importance that actually how important it is. Doesn't get its due importance. Because of the way it has been. Like it's been like this ever since film industry evolved. But now things are changing because, when an artist works with a particular makeup artist, and when they say I'm comfortable with her, they don't mean that I'm comfortable with you as a person and we like chilling and sitting and faffing and it's not about that. It's about the fact that that makeup artist exactly knows your skin type, knows what products work for your face, knows what products do not work for your face, knows which products are allergic to you, knows exactly which facial features to highlight, so that what you see, what you see on camera is something which has been translated and which has been thought upon and worked upon. It just doesn't happen like that. Today, whatever artist you see on camera, it is a planned look. It is a thought which goes behind it. You plan the look, and that is the reason why a lot of people don't want to change their makeup artist, because when they say I'm comfortable with her or him, it's because of these parameters.
And I think somewhere it's maybe 20% is also the personal factor.
Of course, yes.
Because you
build a rapport.
You live with that person.
You build a rapport over a period of time. But again, I would say what is really important is the person knowing your skin. Because Ekant, in today's world, as I said again, going back to my first conversation, that there are so many products available. You don't know, and not only so many products. Like, if you would have been a woman, you would have understood. If you go to a store and you ask for foundation,
oh my God,
they will give you. I'll tell you, they'll ask you questions like, you want a water-based foundation, you want an oil-based foundation, you want a silicone-based foundation. Is your skin oily? Is your skin dry? Do you have a combination skin? So based on all these, you have different products. And in those products,
there'll be different brands.
What is your shades?
Oh
brands
God.
to chori do. Brands to alag hi hai. There are different brands. So the subdivision goes, you have brands. The brands will have these verticals for your different skin type. Now, based on your different skin type, you will have to see what coverage you want. You want light coverage, medium coverage, heavy coverage.
My God.
Based on those coverages, there will be skin shades. So you have to see which works for you. Now, to make it even more complicated, that shade can change if you've tanned. If you come back from a holiday.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of it which is going on. So it is confusing.
Yeah.
So it is very important to identify what works for you. And that's when you asked me what makeup is to you, that's when I said that makeup is something which works for you. It may not be the same as what works for me.
Absolutely. You know, so usually if we have a marriage in the family or whatever, na, the only one term that we hear from makeup artists is आपको पता नहीं चलेगा मैंने makeup किया.
हाँ.
You know, आपको natural लगेगा. आपको पता नहीं कर भी रहे कि नहीं.
Correct. वो तो है.
That's all we heard.
Yeah, natural. आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा. Your skin will look like skin. But yes, that's the expertise, and that's the reason why you hire a professional, because you don't want to look, you want to look dolled up, but you don't want to look caked up. So there is a difference. So that's when the expertise, and that's when I say a professional training does help. Because you exactly know, when we say less is more, we actually know where to stop.
So you're saying for any newcomer or an aspiring makeup artist, it is essential to go to some sort of a school and understand this before they venture on set?
100%. I would say yes. I would say yes. If not a school, even if you're interning with a makeup artist, or if you're doing a informal course with any of the existing makeup, that's also working. That works. But otherwise what happens is, again, I mean, with so much of content available, with so much of Instagram videos available, aise makeup karo, waise makeup karo, you tend to get a little overwhelmed because there's a lot, and a lot of people are learning wrong.
I was just going to ask you that,
People are learning something which is wrong. I would not say wrong. I would say, if I'm, like for example, I'm following you. You are a makeup blogger, not a makeup artist. You're a makeup blogger. I'm a layman. I'm watching you. And you are doing the makeup on your face and you're looking fabulous. So I'm like, अच्छा उसने ऐसे किया है, मुझे भी ऐसे करना है. But your face shape, my face shape, your eye shape, my eye shape, your skin color, my skin color, complexion is very different. But when I replicate that makeup on myself, I look hideous. So when I say wrong, this is what I mean. It's not really wrong. Again, something which is working for her. She is giving you advice based on what is working for her. But if you take that advice without knowing what your skin needs, you will end up looking hideous.
When you say a makeup blogger, they necessarily do not need to know, or they have not done anything by themselves. So
they may not.
Okay.
I don't know that. So there are people who are makeup enthusiasts. They may have learned, they may not have learned. But they love makeup. So they talk about makeup, and their recommendations and whatever they speak is mostly about themselves, what their experiences. So it's good to watch because you understand and learn from their experiences. And honestly, even I follow a lot of makeup bloggers because they give a lot of good reviews about products and all. But again, you need to have that sensibility to understand how much is working for you.
Kisko follow kar rahe ho? Because like nowadays, I mean, brands have also become smart, right? I mean, they hire these influencers, send them products,
correct,
and then they make it look like it's a review, but you won't know it's paid.
Correct. So, when you're dealing with any kind of product, I just feel it should be tried and tested. Always. Like, even when I promote certain products, I always say that, it's worked for me. So, I am recommending it, but you see if it's working for you.
And I think makeup is such a thing, especially with this whole advent of influencers, coming up. Would you feel that it's a little bit risky or even scary, because at the end of the day, you're playing with skin? What if somebody promotes a certain product or brand, and it can just like completely go out?
There is always that risk. That risk is, with influencers or without influencers. That's always the case because you're working with something, you're working on your skin.
Yeah.
So you really don't know. And let me tell you one thing, like it's not only about influencers or makeup artists. A particular product which you have used for 5 years suddenly just might give you an irritation.
Okay.
And you will not know why. So that risk will always be there. So hence I feel that a lot of people nowadays are doing patch tests and all. But wo 1% risk to rahega hi. You cannot do anything about it because you're working with skin, you're working with eyes. I've known of so many people who've said that ye kajal mujhe suit nahi hota hai, my eyes start watering, but that particular kajal works well for me. They ask me ki, your kajal doesn't bleed. So I'm like, it's also about the eye type.
Yeah.
The certain eye type which can take the kajal well, and kajal doesn't bleed, but wahi na, you will have to see what works for you.
Right.
And hence I keep repeating, at the cost of being repetitive, I'm reiterating that it is not a one size fit all. It has to be tailor-made for you. You need to know what's working for yourself.
Right. Great. On a lighter note, we saw this trend with celebrities. Usually in vanity vans when they had breaks and stuff, they would involve their entourage in making reels.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that a lot.
Like dance reels or like.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And especially when if we've just finished a film and there is a hook step of that film which is after the release it's gone viral or something. So we do that. Yeah, we've done that.
So it's fun.
I remember we doing that for Jug Jug Jio, that Nach Punjaban.
That
step, thing, yeah. So we did that, and all of us we did that.
Yeah.
We did it in the vanity. We did it outside. We involved everyone. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, when you're working with a team for so long, that camaraderie, that bonding. Automatically, the entourage, it just builds. So
we go a little back where you said that you finished your Singapore school, and then what was the process after that?
So I came back, and then again, as before, I reached out to everyone and told them, okay, fine, now I've quit my job. Now I'm doing this full time. So
अब मैं Saturday Sunday नहीं आऊँगी.
अभी मैं हर दिन हर time 24/7 आ सकती हूँ. So I did that. So initially and for any makeup artist, aspiring makeup artist, they would associate and identify with what I'm going to say right now. The easiest way to get into makeup is getting into bridals. Okay. Because that's a easier zone. Because again, as we discussed, it's not easy to get into the celebrity makeup zone because everybody has their preferred artist. But again, now there's so much work, there's so many new talents coming up. So I feel everybody has enough work or should be having enough work. You just need to be persistent and hang on. So, when I came back, I reached out to all my friends and said that, this is what I'm doing.
किसकी शादी हो रही तो बताना.
सबको बताना. मैं हूँ, शादी सिर्फ आप नहीं हो रही है, मतलब अगर आप attend भी कर रहे हो, तो भी I'll get you ready.
Nice, yeah.
So that way, and apart from that, I remember I had taken out the list of production houses, list of ad agencies, list of talent management agencies, and I had emailed to that time. We didn't have so much of Instagram or anything of that. So I used to reach out. I have emailed all of them.
So what would you email them? You had some.
I had. So when we were in Singapore, we made a portfolio.
Okay.
That was a part of the curriculum.
Right.
We had a portfolio, and then when I came back, I did reach out to some of my friends, and I did informal shoots with them, and I got their pictures clicked to just. Like you have a show reel, we had a portfolio kind of a thing. And I would send them my portfolio and say that this is what it is and I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm looking out for work and please let me know if there are any opportunities. And sadly so, nobody reached out to me. Because then later on I realized that ऐसे उनको, like when I became friends with, these people, they said that ऐसे हमारे पास दिन में at least 20 से 25 mails आते हैं. Abhi to it must have become 100 now because now every second person is graduating from a makeup school. You know? So I reached out and I would definitely like to say and believe that I've been lucky enough that people did reach out to me and say that okay, let's try her. But not from the emails, but from my
friends
and all. And I did have a few friends from the industry who said that, chalo, we'll see. Yeah. It took off from there and no regrets now.
So can you tell me something about your first gig? Like how was that experience? Or do you remember that? Like what was your first gig? How did it start?
My first gig was a bridal.
Okay.
It was a bridal. When I came back, it was my friend's friend getting married, and she recommended me.
Right.
And I had a blast.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed. I will never forget that. It was a lot of fun, and I'm forever grateful to her even today, because she, in spite of me being a newcomer, she trusted me, and she said that no, you know, I trust you because I know you have the creative side in you, so I trust you, and I would, because it's not easy for a bride, because it's the most important day of her life.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of trust and, you know, gumption to actually reach out to somebody who's new and do that, and I'm really grateful to her. So Priyal, if you're there, thank you so much. So she showed that confidence in me, and I think I did her proud. Yeah.
And then Bridal started. So
Bridal started, and then so Pradeep Sarkar is my cousin. He's no more with us. We lost him last year.
Right.
So he, everybody knows that he's one of the stalwarts in ad films.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to him, but because I was his sister, you know how brothers are. They are like, हाँ ठीक है, कल banking कर रही थी, आज makeup कर रही है, कल guitar बजाएगी. हाँ मतलब कल guitar बजाएगी, परसों chef बन जाएगी. So you know he used to make fun of me. Yeah. So I'm like, no, try. He said, हाँ, we'll try. Yeah. So I'm like, ठीक है, चलो, we'll try. And I'm not the kind of person who would like to push someone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ठीक है.
Especially if it's family.
Especially if it's बाहर तो yeah, but family I don't want to push.
Yeah.
Till a day came when, you know, he was looking for somebody because it was a last moment, some fiasco happened and he wanted a makeup artist overnight. And somebody else said that, you know, there's this new girl, I've tried her once. Why don't you try her? She's not bad. You can try her. So then he said, who is it? So then he said, Lekha. And then he said, okay, wait, is it the same person? And then he realized that she's talking about me, and that's when I started working with him. And I worked on a lot of ad films with him after that. So
this
again,
is so cool, yeah, full circle. It
yeah,
came back
yeah.
to him.
And I felt very good. I felt very happy, and I must say that I felt very proud about myself that, chalo, matlab.
This is not exactly. I mean, this is basically getting it from the industry only.
Correct.
It's
so
not like a family hand.
So what the kick that I got is that somebody is recommending me because they like my work. Yeah. And who is not family. Yeah. So there is no vested interest. So that is something I just feel this just ups your morale, and you just feel, okay, fine, what I'm doing is right. I just need to hang on. Yeah. But yes, then I did a lot of ad films with him.
Nice. So did you stick to him as a director?
No. So I was a freelance. I still am a freelance makeup artist. Okay. So I pick up work as and when my dates are available, and whoever reaches out to me, and if it is interesting, I pick it up. So
that was, you can say, your first foray into doing makeup for screen?
Yes, for screen.
And was that very different from?
It was very different. I made a lot of mistakes. Okay. I made a lot of mistakes, and
but so, just to come back to that. So when you were doing school, did they ever differentiate?
They did.
They did.
But again, that's what I'm saying. It's very important to learn on the job, because no matter how well you are trained in a room, it's very different, because in a room you are trained as per the curriculum. Right. Even if it involves stage makeup, we were taught stage makeup, we were taught film makeup, we were taught still photography makeup, all of it we were taught. But it was a controlled environment. But when you're thrown in the real world, there is no controlled environment. Anything can happen. Right. Suddenly the brief can change from, nahi, abhi दिन में नहीं करेंगे, night में करेंगे. So I don't want light. I'm just you know, thinking aloud. So the brief can change. So it's not a controlled environment. So you're living and working in a perpetually dynamic situation. Yeah. So you need to be equipped to handle, you know, those things. And coming to that, I would like to share something. Sure. I remember it was my first film. I got my first film. It was a Bengali film, and I had tremendous guts and, I don't know, overconfidence. They were traveling to Thailand, and they said, we need you for the lead. So she was also a new girl being launched, and I said, yeah, very good. I was very happy. Oh, great, my first film and all. Yeah. And I went, and I had no experience. That time I had no experience of filmmaking. I didn't know how a film makeup works in a film, because it was my first so-called practical. Yeah. You know, everything else was bookish, and as I said, controlled environment. Usme to matlab bahut acha. Yeah. But when you're actually there, And I remember my first shot was a water sequence where she has to get into the water. So obviously now I understand the makeup had to be waterproof because she's getting into the water. And I have just come back from Singapore. I'm carrying these fancy products, all branded. Because, as a makeup artist, you also want good.
But this is before the ad films.
This is before the ad films.
Okay.
This is much before the ad films. So I'm like, I'm carrying fancy products, and I have this brand, and I was showing off my products and all. When she went into the water, everything melted. I panicked. I'm like, this is not what I was ready for.
Right, but it showed in the water, like coming out.
She came out, it was dripping. It was dripping all over her face, and the director cut, and he said, "Kya ho raha hai? Let's fix this. Why is then mat dalo makeup." And she would not face the camera without makeup. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So that's when I say that I have learned 65 to 70% of what I have learned on my job by making mistakes.
Right.
There is no harm in making mistakes, I feel. And even I tell my students nowadays, if you're making a mistake, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Make that mistake so that you learn and never make and never repeat it.
Yeah.
So you need to make mistakes to realize what went wrong. So I came out. I mean, she came out and she was dripping, and I'm like, what do I do? I called Cory. I said, Cory, I'm in a desperate situation. I don't know what to do. He said, what products do you have? I said, I have this found, again, showing off. I have this, that. He said, babe, nothing will work because it's underwater. Do you have derma? I said, what is derma? I don't know derma. He said, is there any other makeup artist on set? I said, हाँ, वो दादा है. He said, वही है काम के. उनसे जाओ, जाके derma लेके आओ.
जुगाड़.
So I went and I saw that there's a product called derma, which is, again, on the hindsight, I realized it's one of the best products for underwater
It's
shoots.
a brand or it's a product?
So it's a brand by Cryolan.
Okay.
Cryolan is a makeup brand, and Derma is a product which is actually used many years back to treat skin discoloration by doctors.
Oh.
It's a medicated recommended product for skin discoloration.
Right.
So a lot of people have these white patches or liver patches, and also it's a doctors recommend that. So I said, अच्छा ऐसा भी product होता है. So thankfully that Dada had, and I took that product from him. And then I called him. I said, it's very hard. It's like it's not like the typical products I have used. It's hard. He said, brush se nahi hoga, haath se karo. I said, okay. And then I unlearned whatever I learned from Singapore, and I went back to whatever I learned from Cory. And I warmed up the product with my fingers, because a lot of times your finger, the heat warms up, and it helps in maneuvering the product and making the product supple so that it's more malleable for you to play with. I forgot all my brushes. I use my hands, and that's when I learned that this is a fab product, and that's when I learned what not to do when there is an underwater shoot.
Wow. But this was not part of any of your courses. This is like,
unfortunately no.
क्योंकि ये आपको film set पे ही सिखाया जाएगा.
Unfortunately no.
So which means none of the makeup artists who are doing this on a film.
I don't know about now.
Yeah, but back in the day.
Back then there was no concept of, I mean, we were not taught underwater makeup or.
Back then or maybe now, is there a makeup school dedicated for film only?
No.
There isn't?
No.
Wow.
There is one academy, if I'm not mistaken, called Cinema Secrets.
Okay.
They're not in India, they're abroad. They are specializing in film makeup.
Okay.
But in India, no.
Because that's important, right? If I'm coming from what you're saying.
It's very important because if you're not trained to handle a certain situation, how would you handle it? You make mistakes and you learn. And so many times I have learned it like that.
Yeah. Because what I'm understanding
Kajal melt ho gaya, liner melt ho gaya. So then all these fancy products don't work. You need to know what product to use.
Yeah. So bridal, your photo shoot and film, they are very...
It's very different.
Yeah.
It's very different.
So would you... Okay, just to kind of put into perspective. So ideally, if somebody had to, follow this. So one is you go to maybe a skilling or a school, or you learn it. And then you become an assistant.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So
it's very important. I would definitely say, whoever is wanting to be an aspiring makeup artist, it's imperative that you get your hands, working on the job. because that's where you learn the most.
Yeah.
And when you see your mentor, the person you're assisting, or whoever you are with, you learn a lot from them. And what eventually happens, every makeup artist has a style of their own.
Yeah.
So you learn and adapt.
Yeah.
You don't need to emulate. You can learn from that person and then you imbibe it as a part of your own style.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who have known Cory, who've seen Cory's work, even in the film industry, and who I have worked with, they have said, you know, the minute you work on us, we know that you are trained by Cory. Because there are certain things, certain techniques which your mentor teaches you, which are very specific to that person.
Yeah.
So you know, so it doesn't mean that I'm emulating him. I have learned certain things from him which have worked in my favor, and I have added my experience to it and created my own style. And that's how every artist is different. Every hand is different.
Right.
So if you see on a celebrity also, on any artist, if today I am working, I'm using exactly the same products, and another makeup artist is working exactly the same products, still the looks will be different because both our hands are different.
Like they say, that's your chap.
That's your chap. So your hands are different. So there is, and again, it's a good thing because, you know, there is no need to be insecure about not teaching anything. So when I teach, I go all out and teach, and I teach whatever I have learned because Cory has done that to me. So if I have the privilege and I have had the privilege of learning everything, why should I not give out everything? Because at the end of the day, your hand is your hand, his hand is his hand, my hand is my hand. So it's all going to be different.
So I have one question from the earlier thing that we said, we were talking about brands. How do you really choose these brands? So do these brands sometimes reach out to you and then you try them, or how do you, like, you know, choose a particular brand for particular products?
So mostly all these famous brands, you are already aware of it as a makeup artist. Not only as a makeup artist, as a woman, I would say, you're aware of certain big brands. So you already have that awareness. You just need to figure out and try and test and see if it's working for you. There are brands who reach out to you and say, this is the new launch. So, you know, why don't you try it out? They send us some products and they try it out and test it out. And then if you like it, and if you like it, then you just end up having that in your kit. And
the artist who you're working with, they trust your judgment on that?
Yes. And, you know, after working for a couple of years, you discuss also, na? You know, I've figured this new product, which is very good, let me try it. So she will also say, get it, let's try. So, you know, because again, the artist I'm working with is a woman. So that interest is always there. And Instagram, thanks to Instagram, you get to see a lot of new products. Even the brands are marketing it in such a way that, you know, it's in your face. So you cannot miss it. So you would want to see and, you know, chaliye naya aaya hai, let's try this, let's get it and try. So
over the years, would you say that how has social media helped you in your profession?
Of course it has helped. It has helped in a big way. Number one, in terms of, from my personal learning perspective, I have learned a lot because as a makeup artist, I do follow other makeup artists, Indian as well as international. So when you see other people's work, you see their techniques, as I said, that, you know, you see what they are doing, what is working for them. You try to imbibe that into your you know, something which you feel, okay, this looks interesting, let's try it. And it works for you. There have been hacks which I have seen on Instagram, which I've seen on social media, and I've tried and it's worked. So personal level, from a learning perspective, the trajectory has been great because you learn so much. You learn so much seeing, and especially with international makeup artists also, you know, you really see they are a lot into avant-garde kind of makeup. So, you know, you see, okay, this is interesting, this is something which we can try, we can do some test shoots, and you learn a lot. Even from Indian makeup artists, the people I follow, you see what they're using, you see what she's using this product, let's try this. If she's using it, which means maybe it's good. So
can you name somebody, like maybe India or international?
See, I follow Mickey sir.
Okay.
He's the #1 makeup artist in...
What's his full name?
Mickey Contractor.
Mickey Contractor, of course,
so, you know, and especially when you're working on a set, and if there are multiple, like, there are multiple artists, so you'll have multiple makeup artists. That is somewhere we learn a lot. Like I learned a lot from Mickey sir when he said that ye wala color bahut acha hai. So, you know, acha se chal, Mickey sir is saying, let's try it. So, you know, he's one person. Then there are a lot of, I follow all my peers. And, you know, when we are working on a film set together, honestly speaking, which is a very good thing in today's world, that more than being competitive, it's more collaborative. Nowadays, the whole structure has moved to a more collaborative, form of working. Like if I see another makeup artist using something nice, I will not hesitate going and asking, hey, तूने ये कहाँ से लिया? किधर से मैं ढूंढ रही हूँ, मुझे नहीं मिल रहा है. It's nice, she'll say, अच्छा चल तू try कर. So it's great, I don't feel that competitiveness with anybody. It's very, very friendly and very collaborative, which is great. I feel this is a big, big thing in today's world, that everybody is out there to help you. And of course, international, I follow many international artists. I follow Patrick Ta, I follow Pat McGrath, and there are many to name. So you constantly see them, you constantly, watch their stuff. So social media has definitely helped me from that perspective, and of course from a marketing perspective as well. Like you yourself, you become more visible. So because today if you're working with a particular artist, and if that artist posts something tagging you, 5,000 people will immediately come to your profile and start seeing and checking you out कि अच्छा चलो ये ऐसा काम करती है. So your visibility, your perspective, your positioning also gets better. So that way I would definitely say social media has helped me from a learning perspective and from a positioning perspective.
Yeah, and I believe that you have a fan following of your own.
Yes, I do. It's very sweet and it's embarrassing at times. But it's very sweet. Like, there have been instances where girls have just walked up to me and said that, are you Lekha? And over the years, my hairstyle, and this is who I am. So people who have seen me will know that it can't go wrong. That very few people who has blue hair and purple hair and this haircut. So they know it's me. So they walk up to me at airports and at malls and they say, "Are you Lekha? Can I get a picture?"
Wow.
It's embarrassing, but it's really sweet because they are aspiring makeup artists, and it's nice to see that makeup is becoming more of a mainstream profession, and there are more and more young girls who are trying to follow this and pursue this as a profession, which is great.
Yeah, but also achievement, right? I mean,
it is.
Yeah, because
that's
you've
what I'm
done
saying.
so much.
It's very humbling, but embarrassing again. But definitely very humbling when somebody who you don't know walks up to you and says that I follow you and I love your work, and it's very gratifying.
Yeah. On a film, when you do makeup, maybe not now, but probably sometime back, would you ever take up the entire film, or would you prefer to stick to only?
Honestly, I have never taken up an entire film.
Okay.
I have pretty much worked with one, at the most, two people on set.
Is that by choice?
Not really. I mean, honestly, I've not really.
Okay.
Taking up a whole film has never excited me.
Okay.
So I've not really put my head to taking up a full film as a project.
But there are makeup artists who do that.
Of course, yes. A lot of people do that.
So how does that work? So they will dedicate.
They have their team.
Okay.
So you basically design the look of the full film.
Yeah.
And then you have your team, and you decide who you want to work with,
Right.
and then you assign. So you're basically there overlooking the whole thing.
Right.
It's something similar to what we would do in a pageant,
Right.
or in a fashion show.
Right.
So there's these pageants, Miss India pageants, and all these fashion shows. It works in a similar format, that you have one person who's designing the look, and you have your whole set of your team who will be there, basically translating your vision into reality, and you're there to overlook in case something goes wrong.
Right. So going back a little, once your whole advent of ad film started with Mr. Pradeep Sarkar, how did the journey then move forward from there?
So when I started doing ads and all, I started interacting with a lot of people.
Right.
I met a lot of people from the industry, and then I started building relations and rapport, and I met some managers, and we just got along. And on set, because you're shooting for 12 hours, you do touch-ups in between, but majority of the time you're literally not doing anything. Once she is shooting, behind the scene you're watching the frame, and when they are rehearsing or when they're discussing, you're doing nothing. So that's when I used to start talking to people, and I made relations, and then I was reached out to by one of the managers to work with an artist, and since then it's been but to be honest, all my work has been by referral. So one manager referred me, took me on. I tried, and even management, they have their own agency. So they'll say, "Acha chal na, isko ye agency mein," she'll tell her colleague ki, "I've worked with Lekha, try her. Koi nahi mil raha hai to usko try kar le." So it's all by word of mouth, and from one to the other, and that happens even today.
So So would you reckon that, you know, as a makeup artist, maybe not now, you don't need it, but back in the day, networking is essential?
It is important.
You need to
It is important.
be forward and
Yes.
network.
Basically, network in terms of position yourself
Yeah.
so that people are aware of you.
Yeah.
You don't really need to butter up anybody.
Yeah.
You just need to be there. You just need to tell people politely, and honestly speaking, I feel there is no harm in, there is no shame or harm in asking for work.
Right.
So you need to be proactive and ask people for work. It's
Yeah.
okay. At the most, what will they say? Nahi, abhi zarurat nahi hai. But trust me, they have it at the top of their mind, recall that, okay, this girl is a makeup artist. Sometimes when my regular artist is not available, I know I have a backup. So it is there. So it's important for you to be seen, for you to be there, and for people to know that you exist.
So post that, there was a manager who approached you for a certain artist.
Yeah.
And then basically you started working.
I started working, and then reference, one thing leading to the other, one reference to the other reference, and then obviously when you work more, you start getting noticed more.
Yeah.
You start getting spoken about more. You
Yeah.
start being seen in places more, and it's just a natural growth trajectory
Yeah.
which happens, which follows.
So now can you tell us a little bit about the artist? So who was the first artist you worked with?
My first celebrity artist was Daisy Shah.
Okay.
So her manager had approached me, and I worked with Daisy, and then I was continuously working with Daisy, and then from Daisy I was referred to Bruna. They all were a part of the same management
company.
agency. So then I started working with Bruna, and then from Bruna I started working with Kareena. First I started working with Karisma, and then from Karisma I started working with Kareena, and so on and so forth.
And then, you know, of late, who are the artists that you've been most associated with?
See, I mostly work with Kiara.
Okay.
Apart from Kiara, I worked a lot with Madhuri ma'am.
Okay.
I worked a lot with Tabu ma'am
Right.
and Alia.
So, and how do you juggle time between all of these artists?
No, so I only take up work when I have that time.
Okay.
So if somebody approaches me for a particular artist, and if my dates are available, I pick it up.
So it's a first come first serve kind of thing?
You could say it's a first come first serve thing, but then what happens is when you're already in the middle of a film, then it gets a little tricky because you already have a commitment. So then even if you want to take up that work, there are days that I have to say no to even somebody who's a very close, manager, a friend or whoever, but I have to say no because I already have a prior commitment.
And has working with a female artist been a conscious decision, or has it happened gradually?
To an extent, pretty conscious.
Okay.
Because there's a lot more, because as I said, I love colors.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to keep that as a part of my forte, and I love playing with makeup. But and that is something which you can do mostly with women.
Right.
Because you're restricted and limited when you're working with men.
Right.
So pretty
Right.
much you can say it's a conscious decision.
But there are...
I have worked with male artists in the past when I was back in the day when I was doing ad films, and probably that's when I realized it's not interesting enough for me to continue that.
ज़्यादा है नहीं करने
कुछ
में।
है नहीं, मतलब ठीक है मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं है. They also need a lot of, but again you get restricted to just doing a certain kind of makeup. You really can't play with too much of colors. Like if I want to do a blue eyeliner, I can't do it on a guy. I would need a woman to showcase that for me.
Yeah.
So
but all male artists, definitely if they're coming on camera, they have to do makeup.
not only male, anybody, male, female, anyone.
नहीं, female तो मैं समझ गया, वो जरूरी है.
they need makeup.
But even a guy needs
Yes,
to do
yes.
makeup when he's coming on camera.
Yes.
Okay.
They preferred it. It's again a choice. They preferred it. It also depends on what role are you playing. A lot of things put together.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about your work life? So, I mean, there is this whole perception, sometimes ऐसे होता है कि because it's what you see on set. So if I'm on a set, I am seeing a director, I am seeing actors, I am seeing other stuff. Everybody in the background is ठीक है हो रहा होगा कुछ chill कर रहे. But can you give us a little bit about maybe one day on a film set? What is your day like?
Trust me, it's very hectic.
I'm sure.
It's very hectic. It is not, the end result may be super glamorous and gorgeous, and that's what Bollywood is all about, aspirations, aspiring to be that, aspiring to, when you're showing a location, you aspire to be in that location.
Yeah.
When you're showcasing, when you're shooting for a song,
Yeah.
you aspire to wear those outfits.
Yeah.
You know, you aspire to be that person. So it's
Yeah.
all about aspiration.
Yeah.
But what actually goes behind
Yeah.
to set that aspiration so that it translates
Yeah.
into screen what the vision has been, it's a
Yeah.
task.
So maybe what you can do is you can start from, say, the first time you get briefed for a film.
So when when we sign up for a film,
Yeah.
you first understand, you first get a very basic brief about ye character hai. Then you get into the details. So I'll tell you one thing, you know, for a woman at least, hair, not only for a woman, for any artist to be specific, hair, makeup, wardrobe, these three will have to work in sync.
Yeah.
It's not you do your job, I'll do my job. तुम्हारा कुछ भी हो जाए मैं तो अपना करके निकलेगी. You can't work like that. You work as a team. Only when you work as a team is what you get to see when you see the final results and you say wow.
Yeah.
Because without hair, makeup falls flat. Without makeup, hair falls flat. Without costume, both fall flat.
Right.
So it is a totality of these three things coming together in the right way is what makes the artist look the way she looks.
Right.
Because so when you get a brief, you need to know a lot of things, like, because when she's playing a character, she is not herself anymore. She's that character. So for example, if you're playing the role of a Punjabi girl, so we get briefing from the director, from the AD team. You would be knowing it, like, you know, the basic briefing that goes on. कि वो पंजाबी है, small town से है, middle class है, rich है, poor है, जो भी brief है, वो brief मिलती है. And then, you know, or something like, you know, or if it's a period film for that matter, then it's a different ballgame.
I think you are working.
I am working for a period film.
Yeah, with Kiara.
With Kiara.
Yeah.
So it is.
So maybe you can give that reference, that what kind of research you've done. How
yeah. So we had to do a lot of research when you're working on a period film.
Yeah.
Because period is something which you don't get to see now. It's something which is back in the 1930s, 40s, 20s, whenever that period is set.
Yeah.
So when you're working on a period film, you need to know a lot. You need to, apart from the fact that she's playing a certain role, her character, you also need to know what was working at that point in time.
Yeah.
मेकअप था नहीं था वहाँ उस टाइम पे लोग मेकअप लगाते थे नहीं लगाते थे अगर लगाते थे तो what kind of makeup, what did they use. So I'll give you an example. We are working on a period film where you know, it was set in the 1950s where women didn't really wear too much makeup other than bold lip colors. So I did my research. We sat together primarily with the director and we figured out the basic you know, zone of the look. And then you do your own research when it comes to hair and makeup and wardrobe. कि उस टाइम पे लोग अगर लिपस्टिक लगाते थे तो कैसे लगाते थे. उस टाइम पे तो इतने आज की तरीके में, I mean, in today's world there are so many choices. You didn't have those kind of choices back then. So they used to make their own lipsticks. They used to make their own lip stains with petals, with flowers and roses and all of that. So so you need to see if you're crushing a rose petal and you're applying it as a lipstick, it's not really a lipstick, it's a lip stain. It leaves a stain behind.
Yeah.
So now to recreate that, what products can I use to recreate a similar look which will give the look of a stain?
Wow.
But people used to wear bold lips. They used to wear a lot of maroons, a lot of reds. So, you know, you do your research in that way. Similarly with hair, what is the hairstyle that women used to wear at that point in time?
Yeah.
What kind of outfits women wore in those days?
Yeah.
And what kind of makeup and hair they did in those days. So there's a lot of backwork and a backstory that we need to prepare ourselves for before we actually sign up for a film.
And this, unfortunately, nobody will really know because
they won't get to know this.
Yeah.
They will never know this. They will, you know, and that's why period films are very challenging, but it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's something very different that you're doing. You're not doing the cliche, the usual that you do. But it's challenging also because if a particular period demands a particular look, you need to get that.
Yeah.
How you get it is the research that you do at the back end. But if this period needs this look, you have to get it. Abhi, for hair also, agar baal kaam nahi kare, you figure out a wig. So you figure out ways of getting that look because that is the look that was there in that period. You can't show a 1920s or 1930s and show contemporary hair and makeup. It's just such a huge mismatch. So
And for a regular film which is set today also, there is also, maybe not so much, but there's also a certain amount of research
Absolutely. There's a brief which is given.
Yeah.
And you need to figure, like for example, a college girl in Gujarat will dress very differently for a college girl in Calcutta.
Right.
Or a college girl in Delhi.
Yeah.
So you need to know that.
Yeah.
So you need to know who the character is, where is she from, what is her background, what is she doing, is she a professional, is she a college girl. Like if she's playing the role of a doctor, then you need to know, you have to also be practical and use your common sense and say that, doctor, what do you see around you? Your life experience also makes a lot of difference, It adds on to your experience. I mean, I've never seen a doctor with, full blow dried hair or, full glam makeup and going for a surgery.
Yeah.
So, all of that comes into play. So, the brief is very important. And again, as I said, the character is very important. The character built up is very important.
And post that, you will get this approved by the director.
We have it's not really approved. We all get on a call together.
Right.
And that is applicable for an ad film also.
Right.
It's for everything. Every look that we do, which we are facing the camera, we get on a common call with the hair, the makeup, the costume stylist, and the director, the AD team, somebody from the representation of the director, and we come to a common consensus. Okay, fine, this is working, this is not working, so let's stick to this. And then you as and when you shoot, you innovate, you improvise. You come up with your own thing, but the brief remains the same.
And have you been in a situation where, a certain director or somebody has wanted a certain look and it's not exactly what you have planned and the artist wants exactly something else? And then...
not exactly something else,
yeah.
But there have been umpteenth number of situations where the director has said, मुझे makeup नहीं चाहिए.
Natural look चाहिए.
हाँ, natural look चाहिए. कोई कुछ नहीं चाहिए face पे, and the artist is like, I mean, how is that possible? I mean, I will need a bit of makeup. So that is where your expertise and again your people, as I said, that makeup is not only about, and that's why it's important to learn on the set that it's also, apart from your skills, you also need to know how to manage people, how to manage your work, how to make sure that you do what you have to do, but without offending or upsetting anybody on set.
Right.
That is a skill by itself.
So
that comes with experience.
In a situation like this, how do you manage
You will have to figure out a way to manage the director as well as the artist. So you kind of, as a makeup artist, because I get cornered from both ends. One person is saying mat lagao, one person is saying lagao makeup. So what do you do? So you take a common ground and you try and appease both of them in a way, and yet make sure that your work looks good on screen. Because end of the day, what you do is defined, I mean, you're defined by what you do, what you see on screen. So you can't let that get jeopardized. So you have to play smart and figure out a way where आप मेकअप भी कर रहे हो, आर्टिस्ट भी खुश है और डायरेक्टर को भी लग भी नहीं रहा है कि मेकअप है, एंड ही इज आल्सो ओके चल इतना ठीक है, इतना तक चलेगा, इससे ज़्यादा मत कर. So you and again with experience, with more films you do, with more directors you work with, and as and when you move up your learning curve and you start doing more stuff, you also know, the directors also know you. So they also know the kind of work you do.
So they trust them.
That comfort somehow sets in. अच्छा चल, ठीक है, करेगी वो. So that thing becomes a lot more easier much later in life.
Right. And once you land up on set, usually what is your day like on a set? Like what time do you arrive? How many hours before an artist?
So we usually arrive earlier than the artist. So usually for a film set, the shift times are usually, it's a 12-hour shift.
Right. But
we come earlier. We usually come because on an average an artist takes about 1.5 hours to get into hair, makeup, outfit together if it's a regular look. But if it's a hectic look or if it's a specialized look, then sometimes it can go up to 2 hours also. So we come, we keep that buffer in hand and we come, we set up. Then 12 hours we shoot. And while we are shooting, there are constant touch-ups because most of the time we are shooting outdoor. And managing this Bombay sun, or in India for that matter, anywhere, it's not easy. So the constant touch-up is happening. Then there are times when you need to reapply the makeup because 12 hours tak to, it will fade out. So you will have to retouch it. And especially when you're doing a film, you have to keep in mind the continuity also.
Yeah.
So you can't jump continuity. So so it's very important that you keep these things in mind and play according to it. And then 12 hours you work, and then post that we eagerly wait to hear the word pack up. Once we hear, we bounce. Sometimes the artist decides to just take off the makeup on her own, or once she's back, and sometimes we need to stay back to help her remove the makeup. And then we bounce.
Any interesting clashes with cinematographers on set?
Well, it's a similar situation with DOPs as well as with directors, where they say, "नहीं makeup कम करो, बहुत ज़्यादा लग रहा है." It's an interesting thing because earlier, if you see even the genre of makeup has changed a lot in Indian films. If you see an 80s film or a 90s film, you will see the heroines, the artists, the heroines looked like heroines. They were made to look like heroines because they had. And that's how this famous Bollywood hair and Bollywood makeup has these terms have come from there, because they are always dolled up. They are waking up also dolled up. They're going to sleep also dolled up. So that is something which worked back then. But now with more of reality cinema coming in, with more of people wanting to look like real people and associate the connect more with the mass, with the regular audience, you can't really show so much of makeup being applied. And plus, again, you guys would know this, that cameras, it's been a difference in the way technology has advanced in terms of cameras also. Now everything you do is visible in an HD camera. So as I was telling you earlier, and hence even the makeup formulations have changed. Nowadays, whatever makeup that we buy, pretty much all companies, they are all HD compatible, and they all have skincare infused products so that it's not harmful for the skin. Because an artist is wearing makeup literally every day of her life. So it has to be something which is comfortable, and it has to be something which is nurturing her skin. So it comes with a lot of skincare ingredients. It comes with, the products are formulated in a way that it is compatible with an HD camera. So that way life has become a lot easier. But yes, I mean, this is always the case, that kam karo, zyada karo, and plus again, lighting plays a very important role. You also have to see before doing a makeup. It's important that you know what are you shooting for. Like, what is the lighting? Is it flat light? Is it shadow lighting? Is it a blue light? Is it a red light? Is it what are you shooting for?
So would you get this information before a shoot starts?
They don't really come and tell you, but because we've learnt it again by making mistakes. Now when we go for a shoot, see, when you know, like with experience, you know that if you're shooting for a song, this is pretty much the kind of lighting. Otherwise, I proactively go and ask the DOP ki, what is the lighting? Are you using this light? So they'll tell you ki nahi, isme hum log ye light use kare, usme hum log ye light use kare.
Your job, basically, you're working with an artist, with a director, with costume, with hair, with DOP, or pretty much.
And that's why it's called it's a teamwork. And coming to it, it's even I used to do it. So when you go to watch a film, you watch a film. You may like it, you may not like it, but it's so easy for a layman to just trash a film by saying bakwas picture. But it may not have worked well as in the box office, but the effort that each and every individual on the film set, the crew has put in, is 200%. So it is very, it's heartbreaking sometimes when your film doesn't work, but that doesn't take away from the effort that you've put in. You will put in your 100% effort, be it a super hit film, or if it's not doing that well, you still put in your 100%. So that's where the team, the thing comes into the picture, the team spirit, and we all work as one unit, because end of the day we are working for one film. So if that doesn't look good on screen, then what have we done? So the whole intention of everybody on that set is just one, to make this look good on screen.
And once an artist, for example, if Kiara is shooting on a certain time, even if her look is going to be the same through the day, you are still there with her till pack up. You don't leave it to your assistants.
Assistants are there, but I am there watching the monitor. Because even it's important to see what's happening. Like, because sometimes when you naked eye, when you see a person and when you see the person on camera in a frame, it's very different. Again, because of the light and because of the positioning and everything. So as a makeup artist, I need to be there to see on the screen, you know, if everything is as per plan. And of course, assistants are there to help us. But we are there because there are sometimes in one day we have look changes also.
The look is the same through the day.
Because you know, you need to do touch-ups also. Like, you know, if because a person, she's acting, the person is facing the camera, there is a bit of tiredness, everything, you know, it's work, they're working, right? It's not fun for them, it's work for them. So, you know, it needs to be like when you, because, you know, a scene may go on, you know that, a scene may go on for 1 hour, it may go on for 3 days. But in the film, that scene is probably just in real time basis a 1 minute scene. So in that 1 minute, she can't look 5 times different, you know, it has to look the same. So even if it is going on for 3 days, you need to make sure that that same continuity is maintained. And that's where it's important for us to be on set to see ki, you know, this is what we had shot on the first day. This is what basically the look which has been established.
So on this note, you know, sometimes when you're shooting for say 16, 17 hours and the shoot is going on for a month, 2 months, does it take a toll on you personally? Because you're like constantly just there, you know, I mean, we all know it that there are no Sundays once a shoot is on. So does it ever bother you?
It doesn't really bother me, but it is hectic. It is physically exhausting at times because you're literally working round the clock.
It's travel time and all that.
And you know, being a technician, you come a lot earlier and then you leave late. So that, you know, that it gets physically a little exhausting. But as I said, you know, you work as a team. So there's always that zest of looking forward to the next day. And it has also happened that, you know, sometimes I've said that, okay, you know, now I need a break. I'm overworked, I'm exhausted. 2 days at home and then I start missing work and I feel, "Arey nahi yaar, abhi chal, let's go get back to work." So, you know, it's basically the physical exhaustion which tires you down. But I think because we all love what we do, that just keeps you going.
This is a personal thing. I feel this. I don't know what you feel about it. I feel on a film set now, only certain departments get the kind of leverage, respect. You know, all other departments don't. I'm not trying to degrade anything, but I'm saying ki even if it's in terms of an applaud or even if it's terms of an appreciation, only certain departments get that. You know, so obviously direction department, फिर आता है camera department. So the writer's never there on set. Everything else is okay. Do you also feel the same sometimes?
To be very honest, I've never experienced that.
Okay.
Like the films that I have worked on, I feel it's been pretty holistic and all-inclusive.
Okay.
So there have been many instances where the director has actually said on camera, ki Lekha, you've done a great job.
Wow.
So I feel what you're saying probably was true a few years back.
Could be.
But now I feel people have become more inclusive and everybody is realizing that it is a teamwork.
Yeah.
One doesn't exist without the other. You cannot pull off a film with just 3 people or with just 3 departments. It is every department is doing their job and whoever is on set is not there just because they like to hang out on set. Nobody likes to hang out on set. We are there because we are doing our respective part. You know, to make that film the way it should be made. So I feel it's become more inclusive. It's become a lot more collaborative, a lot more, to say more appeasing for everybody. And that, you know, that initially probably a lot of people used to feel it's a thankless thing. But I feel,
it's changing.
I don't think people feel that. I feel that if you are doing a good job, if you're good at your work, you do get noticed, you do get appreciated. Sometimes vocally, sometimes even a tap on your back, you know, a tap on your shoulder after the pack up also, if somebody just taps and good job, you know, you feel good. So I think that's coming in.
Very good. I think I have not been on a film set in a while, so it's maybe changed. Anybody you aspire to work with in terms of makeup?
To be honest with you, I don't really aspire to work with, it's not that, you know, it's not about a particular celebrity. I always like working with newer faces. When I say new face, I don't really mean new in the industry. Any face that I haven't worked.
Right.
If I have not worked on somebody, because it's a new challenge for me. Because again, as I said, every face is different. So you learn something while you work on each face. So any person that I have not worked with, and if that opportunity comes to me, I would always take it up. But I don't really judge that, you know, what is that, you know, who is she, an actor, is she an anchor, is she a audio. I mean, is she a singer?
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of singers. I've worked with Shalmali a lot. The singer.
Mm.
So I like working with new faces because it just gives you a kick as an artist that let me see what I can do with this face.
No, I'm saying कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है ना कि maybe it's a bigger actor or bigger star, not for the stardom of it. नहीं ऐसा नहीं है.
तो नहीं. I just want, if I see an interesting face, and if I feel, I would reach out to that person proactively and say that, I'm a makeup artist and I would love to, if there's an opportunity, I would love to work with you because I just feel your face is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to answer this, but somebody who you feel that, she needs a new makeup artist.
Let me be very honest with you. आज के ज़माने में वो है नहीं.
Okay.
Because every makeup artist who is coming into the industry are pretty well trained.
Right.
And they pretty much know their job very well. So I don't really see any artist and I feel कि अरे यार इसको change करना है. To be very honest, I'm not being diplomatic. I genuinely feel this.
Right.
Because everybody is coming with a certain expertise. With a certain kind of training.
Yeah.
And which is working for that person. And hence that person is stuck to here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that person would have kept changing the makeup or hair artist. Now, if you're sticking to a person, which means that you're clearly working for that person.
Yeah.
So, your hand is working for that person. So, I don't really feel that for anybody. But yes, what I sometimes get a little appalled and aghast, even with my own work, is, there's a lot of post-production also which happens.
I was just going to ask
and sometimes I know, when I see it on screen, I'm like, अरे ये तो lipstick नहीं था, ये color ही नहीं था, ये ऐसे color कैसे हो गया? So that is something which I'm yet to come to terms with because in a DI and in post-production, sometimes the makeup does get tweaked depending on the kind of DI that you're doing. So that's something which I'm yet to come to terms with. कि चलो this is part of life and accept it.
Any particular directors that you really enjoyed working with?
I have had fun with all my directors.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been grateful and blessed to work with people who are like-minded, and I've not really had any kind of issues with any director. They've been very, very accommodative, and I've actually enjoyed all my films.
Okay. Quickly, can we just touch upon makeup for special departments? So, for example, if you have to do an action sequence, is there a lot of prep, or is it very different from a regular makeup? Like, how do you prepare for?
So it depends on what kind of action. If it's so basically when you talk of action, or when you talk of specialized makeup like horror or something in that zone, it's not only makeup. There's also prosthetic which comes into perspective, and not only prosthetic, there's special effects also.
Right.
So I have done a course in special effects, but I am not a prosthetic artist.
Okay.
So special effect would mean your cuts and bruises and basic burns and all, which I can do. But when you're working for an action film, and usually if it's like the artist action करते वक्त यहाँ पे चोट लगा, and that chot is maintained throughout the film, it comes into continuity that you cannot maintain with makeup.
Okay.
So that is when prosthetic, and even for horror, when you have certain specialized requirements for that particular character, prosthetic comes into the picture, and that is something which is a totally different genre of makeup, and all prosthetic artists are makeup artists. So it's a different genre because it needs a totally different skill set, a totally different equipments, totally different makeup products. Everything is very different. So that is specialized. But we always work in sync.
Yeah.
Like there are even if prosthetics is needed, I am still needed on set because for the regular scenes I will be doing the makeup, and wherever there is a requirement of a prosthetic, like for example, if she's got burned somewhere and that burn mark is there, so that I will not be able to do it on with makeup because continuity mein lag jayegi phir. You'll get into a soup later.
Yeah.
Because even if it's 1 square inch idhar udhar, it is captured on camera.
Yeah.
So that's when prosthetic comes into play, where they are making a patch and they're exactly putting it in the same place, so that your continuity and your efforts are minimized. So you get the same look over a period of time. Plus, even when it's an aging, like if you've got hurt now, so that would be a different kind of wound. After 2 weeks, how that wound will look After 1 year, how that wound will look. After 5 years, how that scar is going to, it's going to leave a scar. So all of that becomes a part of prosthetics.
Nice. At a personal level, now that you've been working with Kiara for how long?
7 years almost. 8 years almost.
Right.
7, 8 years.
So you've also seen her gradually evolve
Yes.
as an artist.
Yes.
Can you tell us one thing that probably we don't know about her? At a professional level, personal level, anything.
I think with social media, everybody knows everything about everyone nowadays.
Yeah.
But
you work very closely
I must
with
tell
her,
you that she's extremely hardworking.
Right.
She's very hardworking. Like I have seen her, really put in a lot of effort for every character. She literally gets into the character. She does her own study. She does her own research. And when she's playing a character, when even like for us, when we are seeing her on the screen, I forget that she's Kiara. I start feeling that she is the character.
Yeah.
So, and that can come with only extreme rigorous practice.
Yeah.
And plus, I must tell you that she's also worked in South films. She's worked in Telugu films, and she's outstanding. It's not easy to, learn another language and speak that language and emote and act and give out all those expressions and emotions. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I have seen her do it effortlessly. It looks effortless on screen, but I know the amount of hard work she puts. She's literally rehearsing, even in the van, when we are getting her ready, she's literally rehearsing those lines. So she's extremely, extremely hardworking, and it's commendable the way she has, evolved over a period of, these years.
Sometimes from your family or friends, do you get these unusual demands ki ek phone kara do?
Many times, so many people have said, in fact, I was telling her also that she has a huge fan following in Calcutta.
Okay.
I am from Calcutta, and people who know I work with her, so many times they've said, you work with her very closely. You tell me, kaisi hai, ek photo, ek autograph, ek voice note. I keep saying that, we're not good friends. We're not close. I'm just a technician, so I can't do all this. So I just rule it off like that. But she's, even if I've approached her, she's very proactively done it for. She would do it for anybody.
Yeah, but you do get approached.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Not only for actors, you get approached by film fair हो रहा है उसका 2 ticket लेके दे. अरे मतलब मैं किधर से ticket लेके दूँ? Like the perception people don't realize, and I don't expect them to realize. They feel film industry में सबको सब कुछ easily मिलता है. मेरे को मतलब बैठे हैं लोग मेरे को 10 पास देने के लिए.
No, but I'm saying on that note, now that you've kind of earned this stage, the stature in your life, other than the hard work, there are also perks of being around a celebrity, right? So in terms of travel, being a part of an entourage, do you enjoy that life as well?
Again, I mean, when you work with a person for so long, you literally become family. You become close friends, and not only with the artist, the management, the hair, the costume, everybody. I probably spend more time with them than I spend with my husband back home. Because I'm literally 24 hours with them. So we literally know each other's schedules. We know who eats what, who does not like eating what. So it's fun. It's good. It's
On this note, you had that story to tell about Madhuri ma'am.
It's a shame on me, but it's fun. So I would share it. So I remember once we had to get her ready, and we were getting her ready at her place, and from there we were going for an event. I don't know what happened to me. I nicely got into the car, and I drove, and I came to her house, I reached her house, and I parked my car, sorry. And then when I was, we have this huge kit. Like literally my makeup kit is 30 kgs.
Wow.
We lug it around and travel with us. Like I guard it with more than my life. It's that precious to me. So when I, opened the boot to take out my kit, I realized I forgot to load it.
Oh.
So I have reached her house to do her makeup without my makeup kit. I don't know what happened to me. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, this was the first and last time. I hope the last time. I've reached, and I didn't know what to do. So
was this the first time you were meeting?
No, I wasn't working. This is not the first time I was working with her. I worked before that. I mean, I had worked with her a few times. So then I went up to her and I said, "Ma'am, something like really, मतलब बहुत गलती हो गई मेरे से. But now I can't go back, get my makeup kit and come." Having said that, I've already instructed my maid, I booked an Uber for her. तो वो
हाँ.
Uber में बैठ के किट लेके आएगी, लेकिन उसमें भी तो जाएगा ना आधा घंटा. Bombay distances ना, ऐसा नहीं कि बाजू में है, you get it. So you need that time. So I was really a little nervous, and I told her manager also, listen, this is what has happened. So she said, okay, you go and tell ma'am, what can you do? So I went and told her very sheepishly, ki, ma'am, this is what has happened. And she was so sweet. I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. She's like, ठीक है, it's okay, makeup kitty भूली है ना, it's okay, मेरे पास भी है makeup, ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे पास makeup नहीं है. And every artist has their own preferred basic certain kit. Basic kit, they all have it. So she said, जब तक तेरा kit नहीं आता, you use mine, it's absolutely fine. And I was like, that's really sweet, and that
she
really
got you comfortable.
She got me very comfortable. So that whole thing of
panicking.
Nervous panic thing, but then they made a lot of fun of me also later. That this can only happen with Lekha. So I mean, I still hear this. Like after years, I still ताना जो बोलते हैं ना, वो लोग अभी भी मारते कि kit लाई है ना, that kind, या kit छोड़ के आई है. But yes, I did use her makeup to start the look, and then by that time, my kit came.
Any message that you want to give to aspiring makeup artists today?
Many messages.
Please.
Okay, no, on a lighter note, on a serious note. Of course, yes. I mean, it is important that you get your formal training. But it is also important that you learn on the job. And what is very important, according to me, is that don't follow the trend blindly. Whatever might be happening on social media, whatever might be the trend which is trending and every second person is trying it out, you may try it out for fun. But use your creativity. Use your creativity, use your own sense and sensibility to understand if that works for your artist. And if you are an aspiring makeup artist to be a professional makeup artist, then apart from only learning makeup, you also need you need to know about a lot of other things.
Right.
Like that will only come with experience. So you need to also learn how to talk to people. There are some, these are very basic things, but they are very important things, Ekant, like set etiquette. These are very stupid things, and these are maybe very petty, but then these really add up to the person you become. And if you want to be looked up to by, eventually you will be having assistants yourself. And if you want your assistants to look up to you, then you have to lead with example. So it's very important to teach set etiquette. Like I'll tell you a simple thing. Like when I hire an assistant, my first 7 days goes in teaching her how to hold a mirror. It's as basic as that. Why? Because when you're holding a mirror, your hand will quiver. But if your hand is quivering while you are holding a mirror, the artist will not be able to do the touch-up. So it is very important to have a steady hand to hold the mirror with steady hand so that your mirror doesn't quiver. Your hand doesn't quiver and your mirror doesn't shake. So that the artist can do what she's doing comfortably.
On that note, just one thing. How many assistants do you have?
Right now, I have one assistant.
And what is the job of the assistant on set?
She handles touch-ups for me.
Okay.
And
while you are on the monitor?
While I'm on the monitor, she's handling touch-ups for me. And apart from that, she also takes care of my inventories, and if she tells me that
ये
खत्म होने को आया है, so you order. All of that. Plus, I think the main thing is learning on the job. And so as I was coming back to, it's like these are basic things which no school will teach you.
Exactly.
This is something, holding a mirror is something people will think, ये तो no-brainer है, hold mirror करने में क्या है? But that is also, there is a way of making sure that your hands don't quiver, and that will also help you, because you need to have, as a makeup artist, you need to have a steady hand. Because you're working on, there are times when I have not actually breathed. Because when you're doing an intricate liner, or when you're doing red lips or something intricate, even one breath can move your hand. So you hold your breath and you do that. So it's very important that you have a steady hand. So there are ways of practicing. So that's why, for all aspiring makeup artists, I would say don't take it frivolously. Makeup is, it's not a frivolous, ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब
बस कर दिया
हो गया. It is a technical job for which you need to have basic technical knowledge, and of course your creativity and your perspective to art and artist will add on to that. So it's important that you get in that blend of art and technicality. It's very important. And hence I always say that it's important to do a technical, a proper course, as much as it is important to be on the job,
Yeah.
because it's very, 80% you learn on the job,
Yeah.
20% you learn the techniques,
Yeah.
but 80% of the stuff that you learn
Mm.
is on the job. And when I say on the job, you do not only about the makeup, also about how to manage people on set,
Yeah,
also about
yeah.
how to manage an artist.
Yeah.
Because an artist also, when she's working, when she's between characters and when she's playing heavy roles, she's not going to be, her mood and her
Yeah.
temperament will always not be a static graph.
Yeah.
It will also be up and down. It's
Yes.
human.
Yes.
So not to take things too personally.
Yes.
Take it as your job.
Yeah.
Enjoy the process.
Yes.
Don't get too personal about it. उसने मेरे से ऐसे बात किया. I don't get into that. And all my assistants, that's what I tell them, that it's your job.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
और ये मत बोल कि ये मेरा काम नहीं है. Everything on the set is our work.
Yeah.
Because we are all working as a team. So
Yeah.
when we are working together, there have been times when I'm helping the hairstylist.
Yeah.
The hairstylist is helping me.
Yeah.
Then I can't say, "Arey, hair तो मेरा काम नहीं है."
Mm.
Nobody says that because you want. I mean, being that, as I said, the camaraderie is just
Yeah.
builds. So you
Yeah.
want to help. If you see somebody struggling, you proactively go and help. You help the costume person or the costume assistant. Say, "Chal, मैं tape कर लेती हूँ." You do the miking or whatever. So
Yeah.
we all work as a team.
Yeah.
So that is very important. That you will only learn on the
Yeah.
job.
No, that's very interesting. Also, the earlier part where you said that to handle a director and an artist,
It's very important.
an assistant will see you and know how to do
Exactly.
that in future.
Exactly.
That was really insightful.
Thank you.
From the real insider. Thank you. Thanks a lot for kind of coming here and sharing like your whole journey with us.
It's been my pleasure. It's really, really been interesting for me to actually
Yeah.
share my perspective
Yeah.
with all you guys.
Yeah.
And, it's important to know our perspective also.
Yeah. No, and I think for a newcomer, it's important to know how to start.
Exactly.
That was one of our main intentions, and I think I can say very frankly that even I have learned a few things about makeup. Not that I'm ever going to apply makeup, but I think I have learned a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks to you for that. And from the team here, this is a small little something.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel I'm in Coffee with Karan.
Yeah.
Coffee with Ekant,
Yeah.
with the insiders.
The insiders with Ekant
The
Babani.
insiders with Ekant.
Yes.
And this beautiful hamper. I can see all yummy stuff.
Yes.
Mm.
Which
Thank
can
you so
imagine.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.